Oppan Gangnam Style.
And now things you need to know on this Thursday, the 7th day of November. Today is Men Make Dinner Day, aimed at the men who never cook. I guess other than hitting the start button on the microwave every now and then. In News Attack this morning, a researcher at Duke University says that he has taught his dog 1,000 words, but his spelling is atrocious. 1,000 words. I don't know. It's one thing to teach the dog 1,000 words, but is he going to recognize 1,000 words? Especially when it is out there hiking his leg on that tree, or chasing the squirrel down the road, or snuggling up under my flannel shirt, trying to stay warm. I don't know. What would you do in a self-driving car? I don't know. I'd probably panic. But if it meant that an 80% discount on auto insurance would be in the future, would you consider buying a self-driving car? Of course you would. 9 out of 10 people in a new survey said absolutely. 20% of us are so excited about the concept of a self-driving car that we'd buy one even if no discount were offered. What if you lost your notes and don't know what to say because you didn't read the thing ahead of time? That's what just happened here. Okay, here we go. 20% of us are so excited about the concept of a self-driving car that we'd buy one even if no discount were offered. What's the top thing you'd do if a computer took over the wheel? Text, of course. 26% say texting or talking with friends. 21% said read. And 10% said sleep. That's where I'd be. I'd be in that 10% category. I'm thinking, well, if the computer's a better driver than I am, I'm going to take a nap. So why screw up a good thing, huh? Let's see what else we got for you. Walmart's website sold expensive items for cheap yesterday. Yeah, the Obamacare website isn't the only thing having issues. Apparently, Walmart says it suffered a problem on its website yesterday when they accidentally priced expensive items like computer monitors and televisions for just a few dollars. Items that were put on sale by the website glitch included $600 treadmills that were priced at just $33, $2,000 television sets priced for a couple of hundred, and $60 video games running for $18. So will Walmart honor those prices, you ask, right, huh? Nah, the retail giant is canceling those orders, refunding money, and giving people a $10 gift card instead. To encourage you to buy other things that you don't need, but still want. Let's see here. What else is going on? The People's Choice Awards. Nominees for the 2014 People's Choice Awards were announced yesterday. There are 58 categories. Up for favorite movie is Despicable Me 2, Fast and Furious 6, Iron Man 3, Monsters University, Star Trek Into Darkness. All right. The PCAs will air on January 8th on ABC television. Of course, you can tell I'm already into Star Trek Darkness because that is a damn good movie. Even if you aren't a science fiction fan or a Star Trek fan, I encourage you to check it out, okay? I encourage you to check it out because there are a lot of great messages in it, as always is with Star Trek, okay? Let's see, what else is going on here? An even bigger jigsaw puzzle, or as they put, Bijor jigsaw puzzle. They forgot the other G. Last month, you were told about a 24,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. I mentioned that on the program, which is a world record holder that you can actually own. Who typed this? There's a little thing called spell check. Utilize it. But if that isn't challenging enough for you, there's now a 32,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. This puzzle is a whopping 17 foot long and weighs 42 pounds. And get this, it only cost $194 or $15 yesterday on Walmart.com. And finally, how you pick your nose reveals your personality. Oh, man. I don't read any of this before I go on. I just read it straight out. So what you hear is my initial reaction. According to a Weekly World News Report expert, or try that again, a Weekly World News expert, those who pick their noses in private lack openness, while people who do it in public are extremely open, imaginative, curious, creative, adventurous, original, and artistic. I guess I'm in the latter category. Of course, I kind of try to do it where no one's looking, but I do it in public. I don't like to, though. Dr. Victor Laszlo, sounds like an extra from Young Frankenstein, doesn't he? Says those who pick as though excavating a mine are neurotic, anxious, insecure, and emotional, with excessive cravings or urges and unrealistic ideas, while those who roll the snot up into a little ball and eat it are extroverts in need of excess stimulation. I'm in the former, not the latter in that category. Think about that while you're drinking your coffee. Now let's find out what's going on in the world of news. I'm disgusted.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
In news headlines this morning, plane hijacker returns to the United States after 30 years. American ex-militant William Potts hijacked a place to Cuba 30 years ago. That's what the news prep says. A plane to Cuba. I think this is their way of getting me to subscribe to their service. But if this is how you treat your free customers, no. I'm not going to buy. Anyway, William Potts hijacked a plane to Cuba 30 years ago and finally returned to the United States to face justice yesterday. Potts, and now 56 years old, was taken into custody by the FBI upon landing at the Miami airport. He is hoping that prosecutors will give him credit for the 13 years he spent in a Cuban prison for hijacking the plane, a crime that could carry up to 20 years in jail in the United States. I don't think they're going to recognize Cuban law in this regard. I really don't, but you can try. Sad news for Blockbuster fans. Blockbuster Video officially closes its doors. The video rental chain Blockbuster, dominant in the 80s and early 90s, officially closed yesterday. At its highest point in the 1990s, Blockbuster was weekend mainstay, but it has been replaced by digital technology and online streaming. The last of its chains, 300 remaining stores, will close, according to Dish Network, which bought the video chain 2 years ago. And a wise investment it was, I'm sure. And finally, 2 dead, 7 wounded in a Detroit shooting. At least 2 people were killed, 7 wounded, when a gunman opened fire outside a Detroit barbershop. The barbershop was known for gambling, but it's unclear if this was a factor in the shooting. About 20 shots rang out. Police are searching for at least 1, possibly 2 gunmen. And those are the news headlines for this Thursday.
All right, 2 systems to deal with this Thursday, one in the west and one in the east. We've got gusty conditions in places like Seattle and Portland, and snow in the higher elevations in the Cascades. Rain moving through the big cities in the east as well, but moving out by tonight. Temperature-wise in the east, still looking pretty pleasant in New York and D.C. in the 60s. 60s in Atlanta, down through New Orleans, 80s in Florida, but cool as we get into the Midwest for your Thursday. In fact, we're looking at 40s from Chicago in through Minneapolis and blustery in 54 in Seattle. Friday, quieter conditions across the Pacific Northwest, but we will see possibly even some snow making its way into places like the Twin Cities. Still cold here in the Midwest as well. 40s from Minneapolis in through Chicago. Cooler in the east as well, but dry. 52 in New York. We'll see 55 here in D.C. Saturday, mostly quiet weather across the U.S. Maybe some lingering lake effects, snow showers and rain in places like Michigan. Mostly temperatures will be the big story here, where we're looking at 40s again from Seattle and through Minneapolis, Chicago 58. Nice, though, across much of the country. 70s from Texas and through New Orleans, and 60s here in Atlanta up through Louisville. So it looks pretty good for the next few days. Mostly quiet weather. Again, we'll have to contend with that rain today in the west and in the east, and then possibly even a little bit of snow in the upper Midwest by tomorrow.
All right, that's a look at the weather forecast, my friends, for the United States of America. Coming up in just a few moments on this edition of First Cup, I'll have Today in History, celebrity birthdays, as well as the composer's date book. And Across for Wide Missouri, if it's available. Let me see if it is. Pardon me for just a moment. Yep, it is here. I have that in a few minutes. assuming I remember to play it. And Garrison Keillor's Writer's Almanac is right around the corner, so stick around. More First Cup is on the way.
There will always be those who mean to do us harm. To stop them, we risk awakening the same evil within ourselves.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of him having 15 career NASCAR victories? 1 in 1.7 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park, getting frisky in the dark. I gave your eye a poke. Think the dog is in the bed, do I smell smoke? You and me, we never give up. You and me, and never, ever, ever give up. Getting hot and heavy with the whipped cream that we bought, and dressing in the kitchen, then getting caught. So many things can go wrong, but we still can get it right. You and me, we're not gonna give up tonight.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices and put the bogus myths to bed at bedsider.org.
Boy, we got options tonight.
Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. bedsider.org.
The Writer's Almanac podcast is supported by the Poetry Foundation, publisher of Poetry Magazine, now available in a digital subscription for iPad and iPhone. Subscriptions at poetryfoundation.org/digitalmag.
And here is the Writer's Almanac for Thursday. It's the 7th of November, 2013. It was on this day, 1492, a meteor fell from the sky near the town of Enchichem in Alsace, France, one of the oldest meteorites recorded. The only one who saw it was a boy who heard a sound like an explosion, watched a huge piece of rock fall out of the sky, bury itself in a wheat field. It weighed almost 300 pounds. It was on this day, 1917, the Bolsheviks overthrew the Russian government and formed a new one that would become the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Just 4 years before, Tsar Nicholas II had celebrated the anniversary of his family, the Romanovs, ruling Russia. 300 years they'd been in power. He ruled over 150 million people in an empire that covered 1/6 of the landmass of the planet Earth. But his empire was struggling. In 1905, workers had gone on mass strikes. They'd forced the Tsar to agree to a series of reforms, most of which he didn't actually enact. Then World War I came along, which was devastating for Russia. The government printed money to finance the war. Inflation was sky high. The economy was in shambles. And Russian casualties were the highest of any nation ever in any war. In March of 1917, riots broke out over the scarcity of food, and Tsar Nicholas was forced to abdicate. In his place, a weak provisional government took over. They made few changes. People were still unhappy. And meanwhile, the revolutionary leader, Vladimir Lenin, returned to Russia after a decade in exile. He'd been in Switzerland, and he had to cross Germany to return to Russia. Lenin opposed Russia's involvement in World War I, so the German authorities let him come through Germany in the hopes that he would undermine the Russian war effort. He rallied people with the slogan, "Peace, land,